There are many reasons why electric drive vehicles, or EVs, are an attractive alternative to conventional vehicles. EVs produce fewer tailpipe emissions that contribute to local air pollution, such as carbon monoxide and carbon dioxide. Using EVs could also help reduce U.S. dependence on foreign oil. Most of the electricity used at present to charge EVs is produced by power plants that use domestic resources, such as coal, natural gas, and nuclear energy. It is also possible to use what the U.S. Department of Energy refers to as renewable energy sources, including solar, wind, hydroelectric, and geothermal power to generate the electricity required by EVs as these energy sources become more widely available. Electric drive refers to vehicles that use electricity to either power or improve the efficiency of a vehicle. According to the Alternative Fuels Data Center, the electricity used to power the vehicle may be provided by the electric power grid and is stored in the vehicle's batteries. However, onboard generation of electricity is common in EVs. Electric drive vehicles can be sorted into three categories: hybrid electric vehicles, also known as HEVs, plug-in hybrid electric vehicles, known as PHEVs, and all-electric or battery electric vehicles, also known as BEVs. An additional, less common group includes hydrogen fuel cell electric vehicles, also known as FCEVs. All of these use electricity, energy storage devices, and electric motors to improve efficiency or completely power the vehicle. There are various configurations based on these standard categories. For example, General Motors refers to the Chevrolet Volt as an extended range electric vehicle, or EREV, which would be a variant of a PHEV. Electricity as a fuel has been around for over 100 years. Some of the first electric vehicles were battery-powered versions of a horseless carriage. As petroleum production increased and fuel prices dropped at the beginning of the 20th century, electric vehicles faded away as conventional petroleum-fueled vehicles became popular. However, with increasing fuel prices and growing environmental concerns, electric drive vehicles are again gaining popularity. The most common method to store electricity is in batteries. The most popular forms of batteries are nickel metal hydride batteries and lithium-ion or polymer batteries. The stored electricity is used to power electric motors. These motors are capable of producing large amounts of torque across a wide speed range. HEVs and PHEVs typically use electric motors along with conventional internal combustion engines. BEVs only use electricity as a power source and do not have internal combustion engines for onboard electricity generation. These vehicles have limited range based on electric charging station infrastructure. There are currently over 6,800 public charging stations available across the U.S. HEVs, PHEVs, and BEVs are currently available from most manufacturers in both light-duty passenger versions as well as heavy-duty versions, such as transit buses and delivery trucks. HEVs use conventional fuels, such as gasoline, to generate their electric energy. They typically pair an internal combustion engine with one or two motor generators. These motor generators can assist the engine, charge onboard batteries, or capture energy that would typically be lost during braking. This technology is referred to as regenerative braking. HEVs offer better fuel economy than conventional counterparts and lower emissions. PHEVs are modified HEVs in that they typically have a larger battery pack for added energy storage. They have the ability to recharge the battery using power from the electric grid. These vehicles can be charged at public charging stations or at home. They have better fuel economy when compared to HEVs because they have a longer all-electric range. The electricity used from the grid has the added benefit of being domestically produced and, in some parts of the country, renewable. HEVs and PHEVs may be further described by how the vehicle powertrains operate. These vehicles have simpler transmissions because of the added benefits of the electric motors. The main operating configurations are referred to as series and parallel. The most common of these is parallel. A parallel hybrid can use either the internal combustion engine or electric motor for vehicle propulsion. These can be used together, separately, or in various combinations depending on conditions. Series hybrids are different in that the onboard internal combustion engine is used only to generate electricity. The electricity is then sent to the electric motors, which are the only driving force for vehicle propulsion. A common example of a parallel hybrid would be the Toyota Prius. The Chevy Volt mostly operates under a series configuration. The last main category of electric drive vehicles are BEVs. These vehicles operate solely on electricity and do not have onboard internal combustion engines. These vehicles are usually limited in driving range due to the current limited availability of recharging infrastructure. All of these main categories of electric drive vehicles are available in light and heavy-duty versions. Each can best serve a specific group of consumers, but all share similar advantages and benefits. The benefits of electric drive are mainly in the areas of health, environment, economy, and energy security. Compared with vehicles fueled by conventional gasoline or diesel, EVs produce lower local emissions. When operating in all-electric modes, these vehicles produce no local emissions. This benefit is important in congested urban areas that typically have a higher number of vehicles operating in traffic, along with a higher population density. For these reasons, many consumers and transportation companies are using EVs to lower the pollution levels in these areas. Burning fossil fuels has contributed to environmental issues such as global warming, smog, and acid rain. EVs have better fuel economy than conventional vehicles, which means they are producing fewer of these detrimental emissions. The electricity used from the main power grid does usually produce emissions which must be considered when analyzing their effect on the environment. However, renewable generation of electricity is gaining popularity and contributing to the power used for recharging. When BEVs are recharged using solar or wind-generated power, they have no local or global emissions. This means that some BEVs can have nearly no carbon footprint. This means less pollution for a better environment. The electricity used by EVs for recharging from the electric grid is also produced domestically. Natural gas, coal, and renewable electricity are all produced in the U.S. Not only can these vehicles operate cleaner and more efficiently, but they can do so on American energy. In addition to assisting the country's economy, EVs are usually less expensive to maintain and operate. Due to the improved fuel economy alone, HEVs are less expensive to operate compared to conventional vehicles and usually have fuel costs of 5 to 7 cents per mile to operate compared to conventional vehicles that cost 10 to 15 cents per mile. PHEVs also are said to be less expensive to operate than HEVs, usually costing 2 to 4 cents per mile based on average U.S. electricity rates. A recent study estimates that if 73% of U.S. vehicles were powered by electricity, the nation could offset around 6.2 million barrels of oil per day, therefore reducing our dependency on foreign oil. Since electricity is domestically produced, electric drive vehicles can create and secure American jobs and infrastructure. many reasons to consider the use of natural gas as a transportation fuel. One of the primary advantages in using natural gas vehicles is that they produce fewer emissions than conventional gasoline vehicles. Because of this, natural gas buses are widely used in municipal and private fleets, especially in areas where central fueling stations are readily available. Also, 87% of natural gas is domestically produced in the U.S. Natural gas is the product of organic matter that has decomposed in the absence of oxygen. Biological matter that died millions of years ago became trapped beneath layers of ice, sand, and silt. As more layers were added, along with intense geothermal heat and pressure, natural gas was formed. Natural gas is odorless, tasteless, and non-toxic. Natural gas is colorless and may not be visibly detected unless ignited. However, once ignited, it will burn with a pale blue flame that is nearly invisible in daylight. Like coal and oil, natural gas is a fossil fuel. Unlike other fossil fuels, natural gas is a clean-burning fuel and emits lower levels of harmful byproducts into the air. Natural gas is typically found in coal beds and oil fields, but can also occur naturally on its own. Natural gas has been used as a cooking and heating fuel for centuries. However, many people do not realize that it is also a viable domestic vehicle fuel. There are two forms in which natural gas is used as a fuel for vehicles: compressed natural gas, known as CNG, and liquefied natural gas, referred to as LNG. CNG is compressed and stored as a gas in high-pressure tanks, which makes it a stable method of storage for containing natural gas over long periods of time. LNG is produced by cooling natural gas to a temperature below its boiling point, well below 100 degrees Fahrenheit. A liquid below this temperature is called a cryogenic, which means that it cannot and will not exist as a liquid at normal temperatures and pressures. It must be stored in double-walled, vacuum-insulated, low-pressure vessels called dewars. According to the Natural Gas Vehicle Coalition, there are about 112,000 natural gas vehicles on U.S. roads today and more than 13 million worldwide. There are three types of natural gas vehicles: dedicated, biofuel, and dual fuel. Dedicated vehicles operate only on natural gas. Biofuel vehicles are designed with two separate fueling systems that allow them to operate on natural gas as well as conventional gasoline. Dual fuel vehicles are more common in the heavy-duty market. These engines use natural gas as the main fuel and up to 10% diesel for ignition. Many conventional vehicles may be legally converted to operate on natural gas instead of gasoline using EPA-approved conversion kits. Because of the differences in fuel storage from conventional vehicles, natural gas vehicles must have specialized tanks for storing fuel. Many of the natural gas vehicles on the roads today are found in large fleets, such as taxicabs, transit and school buses, airport shuttles, construction vehicles, garbage trucks, and public works vehicles, since these types of vehicles tend to have space and energy requirements that adequately accommodate the added tanks and LNG equipment. The majority of natural gas passenger vehicles operate on CNG. Presently, there are no light-duty passenger vehicles available that operate on LNG, which is more popular for heavy-duty fleets. There are also other benefits in expanding the use of natural gas to fuel vehicles: for the betterment of human health and the environment, the economy, national energy security, and to help reduce the dependence on foreign oil. Compared with vehicles fueled by conventional gasoline or diesel, natural gas vehicles can produce significantly lower amounts of harmful emissions such as particulate matter, carbon monoxide, and greenhouse gases. These emissions have been linked to the formation of smog. Smog can create or irritate existing cases of asthma, emphysema, and bronchitis. Burning fossil fuels has contributed to environmental issues such as global warming, smog, and acid rain. when compared with conventional diesel vehicles, natural gas vehicles may emit significantly fewer emissions of carbon monoxide, oxides of nitrogen, and hydrocarbons. The use of natural gas as a vehicle fuel can also reduce carbon dioxide emissions by up to 25% when compared to diesel exhaust, which in turn will decrease the effects humanity has on global warming. Natural gas, however, is the cleanest of all hydrocarbon fuels and therefore offers substantial environmental benefits. Most of the natural gas used in the U.S. is produced domestically. In most places where CNG is sold as a vehicle fuel, it costs less than gasoline. In the U.S., natural gas is typically at least $1 less per gasoline gallon equivalent when compared to conventional gasoline. With a network of pipelines in place and the ability to use the existing distribution network, there are minimal additional costs to expand the use of natural gas in transportation. This helps lessen the financial burden many states may face in building the necessary fueling infrastructure. Natural gas is much less utilized than other hydrocarbon fuels, making it significantly cheaper than coal or oil. The use of natural gas as a transportation fuel could alleviate some of the nation's dependence upon foreign oil and encourage energy independence. Harvesting methane from biogas produced from landfills, dairy waste, algae, and agricultural organic matter is currently being performed in several locations across the country. There are more than 500 landfills in the U.S. that are currently using biogas as an energy source for electricity production, for use in boilers and furnaces, or for a vehicle fuel. Developments in natural gas production from waste materials help produce energy as well as nitrogen-rich fertilizer, creating use from previously wasted material.
We encourage you to learn more about alternative fuels and petroleum reduction technologies by visiting www.naftc.wvu.edu/Clean Cities Learning Program.
There are many reasons to consider the use of biodiesel. Overall, combining biodiesel with diesel produces a cleaner burning fuel. Since biodiesel can be made from new or waste vegetable oil, algae, fish oil, or plant and animal matter, it promotes growth of the U.S. agricultural sector. The reduced emissions of diesel-powered school buses alone can contribute significantly to the health of children in this country. Biodiesel is a non-toxic, domestically produced, renewable fuel manufactured from organic materials such as soybean oil, new and used vegetable oils, animal fat, algae, and recycled organic waste. Biodiesel is used as a vehicle fuel in blends and used in many different concentrations. biodiesel must meet the requirements of the American Society for Testing and Materials Standard D6751. The most common blend of biodiesel used in the United States is B20, 20% biodiesel, 80% diesel. Pure biodiesel is B100. Other blends include B2 and B5. In 2010, more than 315 million gallons of biodiesel were produced in the U.S. Biodiesel can be used in most diesel engines, especially newer ones, model years 1994 and newer. Most manufacturers warrant the use of blends up to B20 in their diesel engines. Biodiesel blends are used in heavy-duty vehicles as well as in public transit, school buses, tractor-trailers, SUVs, and farm equipment. There are also other benefits in expanding the use of biodiesel to fuel vehicles, for the betterment of human health and the environment, economy, national energy security, and to help reduce the dependence on foreign oil. Independent tests have demonstrated that biodiesel significantly reduces virtually all regulated emissions while showing that biodiesel poses no threat to health. In 2000, biodiesel became the only alternative fuel in the country to have successfully completed the EPA-required Tier 1 and Tier 2 health effects testing under the Clean Air Act. These independent tests conclusively demonstrated biodiesel's significant reduction of virtually all regulated emissions, helping to improve overall air quality that impacts human health. Pure biodiesel is non-toxic, biodegradable, and can result in substantial reduction of carbon monoxide, unburned hydrocarbons, and particulate matter, all of which contribute to a cleaner and healthier environment. Plants remove carbon from the atmosphere. Since biodiesel can be made from plant materials, burning biodiesel does not add carbon to the atmosphere. In fact, using biodiesel only puts back into the atmosphere the amount of carbon that the crops took out. Therefore, it is considered carbon neutral. The biodiesel industry has the potential to significantly contribute to the overall U.S. domestic economy. The National Biodiesel Board has released a study on the U.S. biodiesel industry's economic impact on job creation and household income generation. The domestic biodiesel industry is expected to create 74,000 jobs by 2015, while increasing household income by an estimated $4 billion. In addition, the report projects that the biodiesel industry will generate nearly $7.3 billion in GDP. The United States is one of the greatest exporters of agricultural products in the world. Because biodiesel can be manufactured using existing industrial production capacity and used with conventional equipment, it provides substantial opportunity for immediately addressing the nation's energy and security issues. Taking advantage of the American feedstock production, the biodiesel industry can provide a solution to foreign oil dependency. The renewability of a fuel is often referenced by the energy balance, or the ratio of how much energy is required to produce and distribute the fuel compared to the amount of energy the fuel releases when it is burned. A higher energy balance ratio indicates a lower environmental impact because less fossil energy is needed to produce, refine, and distribute the fuel. Biodiesel has a very high energy balance compared to other alternative fuels. Published research from the University of Idaho and U.S. Department of Agriculture shows that for every unit of fossil energy needed to produce biodiesel, the return is 3.2 units of renewable energy. For comparison, conventional diesel fuel delivers only 0.83 units of energy for every unit of fossil fuel energy used to produce it.